And hello, everyone. Welcome to Edessa, the second season, the Dark Crusade, la di da. We find ourselves again at night at the bazaar. A lot later, though. Few hours later, like pretty much like a couple of hours after midnight. As Irene is coming into Edessa. She's dressed in like really simple clothes. You could say almost like servant clothes. Like what? But it's a thing. Like they still look very neat, but they are very simple. She will send her go out to with a letter into the Sombra domain, and will yeah, continue on her way into onto the bazaar as she is looking for someone because she's heard about an offer, she has an idea, and she has a certain goal that she has to achieve. So this time she's deliberately looking into the streets, into the alleyways, looking for a familiar dog with a familiar face, like either first a face or first a dog. It doesn't really matter as long as she can find Mina.
Well, Meena is hawking, so there's a good chance she'd catch that note of enthusiasm you have in almost everything she says. But there's also the fact that at least once Alonso will be suddenly kind of darting off through the crowd towards an alley, maybe knocking over an abandoned crate or something. And he snatches up a rat and just grabs it, shakes it, kills it rapidly, and then proceeds to go, kind of almost proud of himself with a little prance in his step, comes back with his glorious kill into the mass at the bazaar, and eventually back to his owner, dropping it at her feet, and of course being rewarded for a job well done.
And Irene will, yeah, she'll walk up to Mina as she sees Alonso, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as she sees him approaching Mina, and she'll go stand somewhere where she's like in eyesight, where she can definitely be noticed by Mina, but she will not like immediately encroach on her. She'll just keep like a little bit of a distance until she's noticed, and until Mina is actually not like running away from her or screaming at her or something like that.
No, it'll work out. Mina will be in the process of hawking. Perhaps one of the people listed in the post will step up and exchange a couple quiet words with her, and she'll give a nod and be wearing her broad smile, and will eventually feel like she has gotten one here. Time to move and uh, maybe hunt for another lead or follow up on one of the ones she has already. But whatever the case, she will bend down and scoop up Alonzo because he's definitely carry sized and just ever so delighted. And she will be kind of glancing around, and yeah, will almost inevitably end up spotting Eirene sooner or later. She does keep a pretty weather eye out when she's in the bazaar, especially for other canites. And she will do the most comical thing when she spots Eirene, which is, she does spot her and then just kind of like does that bratty almost the turn up her nose and like, I'm taking my ball and going this way. And like kind of mock huffs her way. Over that away, which is probably just another adjoining alley, but just like, no, I'm not talking to you. And
Oh dear.
that
Uh, Irene hesitates for a moment because she does not want to. Yeah, like she doesn't want to like push me now or something. But on the other hand, she does kind of like, yeah, she does need to talk though. Uh,
it doesn't seem anything
she's
like real sincere anger or fury. It's just like, no, you're a butt and I don't like you right now.
so she'll follow Mina for what it's worth, she does have a sort of a guilty expression on her face. Like, yeah, I kind of know I fucked up. Um, and she'll just walk just a little closer so that, she could at least address Mina without, like, having to shout.
I mean, Mina basically does the little huff down this alley over here, and like she's not disappearing. She's not earnestly trying to avoid her, but it's
Mm.
the, oh no, no, you have to follow me. And so she can definitely like fall into the alley, and Mina's
Oh,
not
yeah,
obfuscating or
definitely.
anything. She's just being healthy.
I mean, yeah, Irene will definitely follow. She has no objections with following. And yeah, once they're like a little bit out of earshot of like crowd, um, I would like to start with making my apologies for yesterday.
And at that point, Mina will pause, and we'll kind of turn, like do the half turn, so she's kind of looking not back over her shoulder, but kind of down the side of her shoulder, still hugging up Alonso, and kind of takes up an almost she can't help but have it look playful, but kind of a mock suspicious, like, I'm watching you little look as she goes, I'm listening.
It's I can't really recall what has happened. I thought I was still sleeping, um, and dreaming, but apparently I've had this before where I was sort of sleepwalking almost, just kind of trapped in a dream. It's hard to explain, especially since I haven't found anyone who has more knowledge regarding this, as apparently um, most of us don't dream.
And she kind of hoists Alonso a little more into her arms, and kind of sulkily almost, still very much the, I'm so offended, kind of teasingly says back, and you told us you didn't dream. Tisk tisk.
I mean, it's not necessarily a good sign when you're dreaming as a Cainite, is it now?
She splits her usual, like maybe just a tinge malicious looking grin. And you thought we, of all people, would think it was a bad thing.
I think you of all people might understand better than I would. But I am not a part of your clan. I am supposed to be a proper La Sombra soon. Well, soon. Hopefully soon. And I should act like that and not talk too much about dreams and seeing things that aren't there. I do not believe that's behavior that my clan would approve of.
And she proceeds to do a gesture that's kind of the sweeping my hat off to you kind of bow, as she says, well, congratulations. You have even worse mommy issues than some of us. I'm impressed. But now I'm in trouble. And now
Are
I
you?
owe favors.
I I was not aware.
And she'll kind of gesture out past her towards the open bazaar. When you came stumbling in, seeing things, calling me mother, I backed you into an alley, making sure you wouldn't go breaking the silence, wouldn't go freaking out in front of kind eyes. And I don't know what you did. Everything went black, and then everything went red, and then I was in trouble for running through the middle of the bazaar. Fangs out, breaking the silence. And now I owe I can't remember his name out of character, and I owe Gufron.
Giles?
Yeah,
I
that
think.
one.
I mean, that's not something I didn't really know, by the way. It's just.
Yeah, so she'd just be like, so now I owe. She like even goes so far as to like tick it off on her fingers. Now I owe Giles, and I owe Gufron for having to clean up behind me.
I do not know why it went red. That was not of my making. The black, that is something that I can do, and that is something that I tried to do as I tried to shake off the people following me. Still, I do remember there were people who were trying to catch me.
Yeah, there were.
And as far as I believed, those were people with ill intent. It appears I was wrong in that.
Well, I wasn't one of the ones chasing you, so I would hope Madeleine didn't have ill intent, but I guess that's between you and her.
I was not aware it was Madeline. Well, I mean, now I am, but at that point I was not. Maybe I mean, I cannot change what has happened. And I do not know what made your sight go red.
The beast.
Ah,
Didn't like your parlor trick.
it's not a parlor trick. And I wouldn't say that's about power over shadows to Ada La Sombra. Some of them can take great offense, I think, calling it that. They're rather proud.
Her eyebrow kind of pops up like, really?
Really?
That's pretty much the expression. It's just, really?
I mean, we'll kind of give the nod like, yeah, really. Nah, but she'll smile. Maybe, like I said, I cannot change what happened, but I came here for two reasons. The first one, to offer my apologies, but I also came asking. A while ago, you sent out word that you would offer to protect certain areas if other canines would request of it. And I would like to take you up on that offer. There's a certain area that I would like to make sure is free of rats.
Oh, yeah?
Hmm.
And where's that?
Then Irene will give a vague smile. Um, well, this might make it even more interesting for you. It's in the Nobles District.
Heck of a change of scenery. But sure. Alonzo's services are Rendered anywhere. And she, like, ruffles his head. His big ass ears kind of, like, flop around as she hits him with her hand. He, of course, looks delighted.
I'm not sure how bad it is over there. I still have to get back into business, so to say. But well, well, they need to be protected anyway, and I have some interest there. And as your rate was one minor boon, right?
Yeah, they cleared out.
Okay. I would offer you two if you prioritize that area.
Oh, really? Oh, priority set.
Call it a business deal and an apology in one.
And she'll kind of do a little, like, okay, yeah, a little nod, like, makes sense. This I can do. They'll have to show me where I'm working, make sure they know what I'm doing. And if they want to stuff the holes he snuffs out, they may want someone on standby.
That will most likely be me.
She gives a faint grin just because the idea of, the person that everyone treats like a little princess stooping and like stuffing holes with stones and filling them with mortar is pretty fucking funny.
It is, it is.
I mean, hey, this shit
But
needs to be
Irene
done.
is
It doesn't
not
matter
look
who
like
you
she's
are, but
joking.
it's still funny.
She said, I also probably have to be the one to lead you through the gates.
Yeah, probably.
So we will be sort of working together. I'll probably be there and be around while you're working.
It's fine with me.
All right?
Well, then I guess, lead on, fair lady.
Well, she kind of pulls on her dress. That yeah, it does look really simple. Like really, really simple.
She may or may not be wearing the very flagrantly, very broad, teasing smile as she says, "Fair lady."
I'm not necessarily a fair lady, and I have some business in other parts of the city to do first. So if you wouldn't mind that we would start tomorrow.
Fine with me.
Okay. Like I'm going over to the slums tonight.
And eyebrow quirks again. You're going to the slums.
Yes, I've been going there for a while now.
Have you been robbed blind yet?
No.
Lucky you.
I mean, they've tried, but especially mortals. And she does like inadvertently, as one does, give like a quick glance around at the mention of that word to just see if there isn't accidentally one listening in on their conversation. But they're
Nah.
nah, they're really easily swayed by words.
They are, aren't they? What are you doing down there?
Well, I'm just helping out in ways that I can, bringing food, sometimes clothes, medicine, just talking to people, trying
And
to,
remind me, Irene doesn't have like an offensive to animals or anything, right?
no, 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 she doesn't. Just, trying to, in times like these, it's so easy to lose hope. And then I'm just trying to do my best to give some people some hope. It's hardly effective, but at least it feels good to do something out there.
And while Mina looks a little skeptical of the whole thing, she is kind of studying Irene's expression. Is she, at least on the surface, looking pretty sincere?
She's looking absolutely sincere.
And so she takes to kind of just idly petting Alonzo, stroking his head, and kind of turns a glance in a vague direction. I mean, if you want to put hope where it's hopeless, have you even been to Riverside since the plague broke out?
I have more turned my attention in the direction of the slums. Riverside, I do not have very fond memories of Riverside, which are not because of the neighborhood, but because of a single individual.
Well, I don't know who you don't like, but might be dead now. Most people
I'm
there are.
pretty sure he was dead when I met him.
Yeah, well, these things do happen.
His name is actually a priest, goes by the name of Father Louis,
Kind of quirks
one
a
of
brow.
our kind.
It's obviously not someone she's met before. She seems kind of
No, no,
on
no,
it. Well, I don't know that guy. But you're probably one of the only people who could walk around there safely. Well, we in general are. I have to have Alonzo. But,
no.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that's just where the rats hold their parties between infecting and swarming people. They're pretty much everywhere. There's whole areas of that district that are kind of devoid of life now. Even the
That's bad.
tavern's not got any hope in it. They don't even play music anymore.
Well, maybe if you've not heard of him, and I'm sure that with such a manifestation of this illness, you would have heard of him if he was still around. Maybe he's left again. He left before.
She grins broadly. I'm there every night. I haven't seen him.
Mm. Well, I could go over there as well if you say that help is needed there.
Yeah, I mean, over there, everyone in this city's lost someone, but most of them over there they lost a lot.
You said there are
It's
entire
it's
areas
pretty
that are
grim.
empty.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm really blessed with where, like in Timuran, they've closed the gates, so the city has not been. We don't have any plague inside our walls, so
Oh,
it's
lucky
really
you guys.
yes. I mean, it is good to be safe, but to be out here and to see all the suffering, I just want to help.
And she kind of rubs thoughtfully at her chin for a second. Well, how about this? You come do that totally not a parlor trick in some of those places where there aren't any people to worry about. See if you can snuff some of the nests with me. And I help you with your, give you a little tip for your sleepwalking. How about that?
Sure, I'll take that exchange.
And she'll nod and kind of take a cursory glance around because Lord knows people toss all sorts of things. So she'll take a look around the alley, perhaps find where someone's discarded a tankard. You know, it's seen some better days. It probably got hit by a cart. It's dented near in half. And she'll put Alonzo down and have him keep to her heel and scoop it out of the garbage and take a part of her tunic, like take her sleeve and start really working at polishing up one side of it. And finally flips it over, realizes is that somehow, even though it's the cup itself is warped, so the bottom isn't like a flat bottom anymore. Like it's still a flat plane, but it's tilted a kilter. And she'll be like, there we go. And she'll come over. And we'll even go so far as to kind of spit shine it. And once she's got it at least moderately reflective, she'll take a glance in it and actually give it like a weirdly intense little look for a moment. Seem satisfied, and then come on over, just amble on up to Eirene. Obviously, Alonzo will pause a couple paces back and start nervously kind of pattering around. But she'll come over and point it to Eirene next.
And Irene will take the tankard. Looks a little confused.
And she'll just kind of tap on it. It's not the best thing to use, maybe, but reflections show the truth.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
And Irene will not look into it, and we'll just hand it back.
Even if it means using it to look behind you or look in front of you, look at others. It works.
You do realize that I am a La Sombra.
She just kind of idly shrugs. So?
Okay. And she'll go stand next to Meena and hold up the tankard so that they can look into it together. And there is no Eirene in the reflection because clan flaw.
She's still, her lips firm into a little line, and she shrugs. Because thankfully this is not the first time she has seen someone with no reflection. Otherwise she'd bug out really bad. But no. As the case may be, she kind of shrugs. Suppose it makes it easier to look behind you then.
I suppose
Besides,
it does.
it's not like you're looking at you. She even goes so far as to, like, when she says you, kind of pokes the end of her nose. It's not like that's what scares you. You can look around you and see if what you think you're seeing is real.
That is true, and perhaps if I would see my own reflection, or any kind of reflection, because I wouldn't even be able to tell my own reflection anymore, I think. If I would see my reflection, I would know.
And she grins and kind of taps the side of her own nose and you got it. Like
And Irene will smile and she'll nod. I will try that. And as promised, I'll help you out in Riverside.
she nods.
Do you want to go there now?
And her eyebrows kind of pop up a little bit. If you're free, want to practice, see if it works. I could even have Alonzo herd a bunch of them into one room. There's plenty of empty buildings. then you just fill it.
That might be useful. We wouldn't want to have those shadows out and about, will we?
No, I think once was enough on that.
If I'm correct, then they won't frighten you like that again anymore.
I freaking hope not. That would suck. Oh, that would be bad. I'll just I'll just worry about making sure Alonso's not in there when you start pulling out Shadow. Learned a
That
little
might be
thing or
wise.
two.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any plans for the rest of the night. I was planning to go to, well, a place in the city that I would, for a while, call Haven, and uh, and that's that. But that's can happen at any point during the night. So if you want to lead the way.
Let's see if you can beat my kill count. And yeah, she kind of grins because this actually sounds like it could be some good fun. Admittedly, it's a pretty skeezy place. So, I mean, at least Irene's dressed for it. So,
Irene is definitely dressed for it.
I mean, she's dressed about how Meena usually does. So, yeah,
Mm,
Meena will actually comically, of all things, she's got like on a nice like wrap over her normal little shift of a tunic. And at some point as they're walking along, she seems to pause at a very particular alley and stows the at least half decent looking clothes. It's like merchant class. It's not. In fact, it's probably low merchant, if anything, because she's a rat catcher. She's not supposed to look but so nice. So she actually, like, comically will step aside at one point, sweep off the head wrap, sweep off the topmost tunic, stow them in a busted looking crate, and continue on her way so they can both go in a pretty basic like servant or worse shifts. And yeah, I will say for the sake of having it really blatant that when they do get to Riverside and they do start walking through it, it is very obvious, especially with Alonso close by, that while the rats will avoid Eirene, I mean obviously,
mm,
Meena does not have the same luck, and they will take up interest. They'll snuffle at her. They'll see the round, and it's purely Alonso's presence that keeps them from very boldly, like coming up in a proper swarm and getting at her ankles or trying to properly come at her. It kind of shows the extent of just how bad it is around here, especially at night, especially in places where Meena hasn't had a chance to thin them out at all.
mm.
Like it's intense. There will be whole areas of the street they will see almost no one on the street except for a couple guards, which of all things, instead of guarding from human threats, are mostly just killing rats. But aside from them, these two are probably going to be like the only two on the street. Even the taverns they pass are very quiet. Um, and there's probably at least one that has just this big fat cat sitting right on the right on the entrance. But yeah, it's pretty dead. There are places where people have holed up for the night, but then there are whole streets where there's kind of that uncanny, eerie quiet of like there ain't no one living here anymore.
Yeah. When Irene notices that Mina is like getting, well, not overrun, but there's definitely rats approaching her. Irene will start walking a little closer to Mina, like making sure she's not touching Macavian or anything, but just, you know, staying close by enough that, that it would at least keep like 2 out of 5 rats out or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Alonso does a pretty good job, but Irene makes it a
Mm,
little easier on him, and he doesn't waste as much energy like fussing at swarms of rats as he usually has to
yeah.
keep her untouched. So, I mean, save the pupper some energy for
Hmm.
corralling. And yeah, I'm sure they will actually manage to make. I mean, I don't know how hard it is for Irene to do that or if it costs anything, but depending
I
on how
don't
many times they can do
believe
it.
I don't believe it costs blood. Let me actually. I will look it up before I start like spouting rubbish. Um, let me actually see. Da, 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 da. Observation. Tuk, 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 tuk. Roll manipulation and occult with difficulty 7. Additional success. May choose to affect an area not in his line of sight. Oh, it will only cost me a point of blood when I affect an area that is not in my line of sight.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, they can make a night of practicing this, and yeah,
Mhm.
Irene will see that Alonzo is very adept and very enthusiastic about his work. It takes probably for their first night, it takes a little work to teach him to corral instead of just leap in and murder kill, which he will do for at least one of the swarms, I'm sure, not really understanding the difference. And boy, does he do it. He will leap right in there and thrash around, snap after them, chase them, and gets a pretty considerable kill count. But with a little work and a little effort on Mina's part to instruct him, and then some work on Irene's part to flood out a room in one of these abandoned buildings, they will manage to essentially probably do a pretty nice combo of Alonzo chasing swarm after swarm of rats, and then if Irene stands in the door in the meantime, they're not going to flood back out.
Mm.
And yeah, they'll be able to do some impressive volume of work that way.
Shadow killing.
You are now top-notch exterminator. We could go into business. Just not where anyone can see.
I think we can end the scene there.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we'll see you again in Edessa: The Dark Crusades.